thanks everyone for watching or listening today. Liam Hartery here, new official interviewer for Spartan Promotions. We've got a very exciting guest on the show today, Mr. Kyle Fox, who is the British middleweight bare knuckle pit fighting champion, has a record of 2 wins, 1 loss with Spartan Promotions. And today we're going to be talking about his life, his career, his mentality to win, quite a few aspects of his exciting life in bare knuckle pit fighting, pretty much the most brutal fight sport in the world, I believe. So, Champ, the first thing for me to do is obviously say a big thank you for coming on the show. Big thank you for making the time. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. No problem. Glad to be here so that I can have a good chat and get to know you. Welcome to Spartan.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Pleasure to be here as well. I'm really happy to be on board with you guys. It really is an honor. So, obviously, talking about Spartan, I mean, we might as well start there. You've obviously got a massive fight coming up now, title defense on November the 20th. And I just want to talk to you about that. At the time of this interview, obviously, we're a few weeks out from the fight. So, how are you feeling? How's your training, your preparations, and everything going on the build up to the fight? How's that side of things looking?
It's going well. I'm working on a lot of things that I never thought I'd actually focus a lot more on in that type of fighting sport, which I'm not going to let out because obviously I'll just use it in training, so keep it all in, let a little bit out here and there on videos. But now, focus, ready for it in all fairness. I had this person in my first fight, my debut fight, gained a lot of experience from that fight, came back 2 more times and won. So I believe this is definitely going to be possibly fight of the night. I'm willing to put on a show this time. It's going all 3 rounds if he wants it to, but I ain't stopping.
Brilliant. And obviously, this many weeks out from the fight, what is your prediction in terms of how you believe you'll win, or in what round, or anything like that? If you've got to give us a little bit of a prediction, just to get the excitement in there.
Well, I wouldn't mind doing first rounders. I like getting in, put on a good, quick 2-minute show. I know obviously people pay to come and see a good long hard show, but you don't get paid for overtime. So get in there, finish him in round 1 if possible. If not, I don't mind showing everyone what else I've got.
Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. Now, obviously, the Spartan shows have been improving from one show to the next the production value and where they're taking place and all that over the past few years has been absolutely incredible development. So, in terms of this show, what are you sort of anticipating in terms of the crowd, in terms of the atmosphere, in terms of the overall vibe of the night or the afternoon? Anything you'd like to say about that side of things as well, just to give a shout out to the team.
Oh, I see it going to be a lot bigger, better than last time. Each show it gets more people come in. We've had shows where we've had to tell people that we can't get no more in. So now we're looking at bigger, better venues. That's why we keep pushing these shows out as much as possible to show everyone that look, we're not going nowhere. We are a company to watch. So we want to get the bigger venues, the better venues, and just keep building and building. And we're now wanting to get different shows all over the UK. So hopefully within next year, we'll get a lot more going. As you can see, Christian trying his best and that is working hard. But no, I believe each show's just getting bigger and better and more atmosphere, more people, more electrifying, and the fights are just getting more ruthless.
Yeah, 100%. I absolutely love Christian's vision for the sport and helping to develop. And every time I speak to him, he's always got new exciting developments that he's telling me. We've got this for the show, we've got that for the show, and everything. And I absolutely love his energy and his vision and his passion for Spartan and helping us get in. Absolutely brilliant. All right then. So obviously, looking back through your career itself, because obviously we give a little mention to the upcoming fight, but you've accomplished a lot so far as well. Now, when we were talking on Facebook and things like that, you mentioned about your background, about certain things you overcome, with related to bullying and related to certain things that you've overcome to get where you are, be the British champion and get to, a very high level in the fight game. So can we talk a little bit about where fighting actually started for you, where this whole journey began for you in terms of fighting?
My first time, obviously, growing up through like second primary and that, you obviously have your little fights. But first, properly starting anything martial arts wise, it was in a gym in Highfield in Doncaster, and a few of the other Spartan boys started there originally because it's in their hometown. It's a fair few mile away from me. But no, I started there at the age of year 7 with a bloke called John and Liz, and they helped me overcome the fear, obviously, of being bullied and just taking it instead of actually standing the ground and self-defending myself. But no, they started me off in year 7, and from then I just enjoyed boxing. Used to go bits and bobs all over to different gyms, but I never really took off properly on it. I never really kept focused on it. I just used it more of a way of releasing all the bullied anger and everything out of me. So it were a form of release more than a passion and drive.
Sure, that makes sense. Makes sense where it started. Okay, and then obviously, switching from traditional boxing, glove boxing to sort of bare knuckle fighting, which I think is pretty much the most brutal fight sport in the world. I
Oh,
think, and obviously
definitely.
the purest form of fighting as well. Obviously, it's a true throwback to before the gloves and everything like that. So, what was it that actually inspired you in the beginning to join up, like specifically with Spartan and joining the team and everything in the beginning? Where did that side of it start for you?
When they did it was I watched a few videos of Spartan 2 or Spartan 3, I think it was Spartan 2, I think, yeah. Watched a few fights from it and I thought I want to go to one of these shows. So I went to Spartan 3 and I thought I really wanted to go with this. It looks quite fun, this. I was checking from first fight all the way to the last one and it was just immense. So I thought, right, get in touch with Christian and say I want to do this. So I said to him, not the next show, give me the show after, let me get some training in. I got some training in, definitely getting a lot better training now from the first fight. But got a bit of training in and I just loved it. So I thought, even though I've lost, I'm coming back. Coming back definitely. There's once you've done it once, it's like a tattoo. It's like a drug. As soon as you've had it once, you want it again.
100%, yeah. No buzz like it. I totally get that. Now,
Yeah,
obviously, winning the British title, and this is something we have to talk about, obviously, because I know we've looked to the future a bit, but looking to the past, obviously, winning the British title, massive achievement. And
yeah.
obviously,
Thank you.
like I keep saying, in the most brutal fight sport in the world. So, obviously, people talk about the specifics of the fight, but looking at it from a different point of view, when you actually won and you actually got given the belt and all that, I mean, what does it feel like? I mean, what sort of went through your mind in like a moment like that? If you get what I'm coming from with this.
Yeah, yeah. See, mentally, it didn't fully sink in until I think halfway through the car journey home, and I'm like, wait, wow, I've got this belt, wow. So it didn't really hit until so far on the way home, but the instant soon as I got handed the belt out, as crazy as it sounds, obviously as you can see, I was raging, screaming because I wanted to carry on like him, but I just changed instantly from seeing red to right. I've got my belt. It's end at fight, and I went up and I gave him a handshake and I hugged him because at the end of the day, it's respect he's got in there to do the same thing to me as I've done to him.
Yeah,
But
100%.
no, we both come out safe, and that was the main thing. But no, it's hard. It's hard. Myself, I just went from it's time to do business to it's done, dusted. Let's get out. We're done.
Yeah, totally change your mentality. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
you
you've
on that
got
as
to.
well. Yeah, yeah, you do. So, all right then. So, obviously, with like in terms of the other thing that really interests me about this is a big achievement like that. I mean, how do people react, like in terms of your family and your mates, your friends, and all that when they sort of found out? I imagine some of them were there probably, but when you came back and everyone knew about it, what was the reaction like in your community, in your area, and everything like that?
Uh, a lot of my close mates, yeah, yeah. A lot of people were well pleased for me, well excited, and that. Uh, Fully growing up around my area, a lot of people like shocked, obviously, because the type of kid I was growing up to then who I am now to today, no one would have ever seen it. I could have never seen it. If someone had said to me 10 to maybe 5 years ago, "Oh, you're going to be British middleweight champ," no, no, I'm here. You're going to do pit fighting. No, I'm not. I wouldn't have believed them, but yeah, a lot of people were happy about it. My mum, she was a bit of both. She definitely didn't like the fact of the sport I do, but she was happy that I got out safe. And I called her straight away and I said, "Mum, I've won the belt." So yeah, but I'm just going to put it out there currently because on the last show, I was not able to attend. So Christian, the manager, made the decision to vacate, to strip me the belt and put up for my opponent because it weren't his fault that I could not attend. So someone else, Marcus Hall versus James Waitman, they had a fight for the title, and Marcus Hall won. I believe now he's now doing his own personal choices with his job life. So he's now going down his own road, and he's been taken off the title. So the belt is now available for me to fight back again for it, which I took with both hands when Christian offered me it. And Jimmy King, he's now done a lot of fights for middleweight, and I can see the kid does deserve it. Because yes, I've won two myself, and he's won two himself, but he puts on a good show. So he definitely deserves it. He deserves a shot. So it's going to be definitely a big fight. But I've told the kid, I'm sorry, this time you ain't winning. It's revenge this time, and that belt's coming back with me where it belongs.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, well, that's a good clarification of the title situation, and obviously, yeah, definitely, it's good to get into your mentality as well as to your preparation for the fight, and that's absolutely fantastic on a lot of levels. Now, obviously, another thing that fascinates me about the fight game as a whole, I feel that people overlook this quite a bit, is obviously we talk a lot about the physical side of training, but when it comes to the mental preparation for a fight, and the build up, because I mean, you are going to war in there. I mean, it's bone against bone. It's a small area in the pit, and it's absolute war. Every fight is 50-50. So when it's sort of on the build up to it, maybe like in a fight week or something like that, what sort of goes through your mind on the run up to a big fight on that side of it?
Well, not really, to be fair. I don't really. Obviously, everyone gets a bit of build up, nervous, like a bit of bubbles and that, or butterflies in the stomach. But I don't get that until the travel there. When I'm driving there on the day, that's when all my nerves come in. And then soon as I get my first hand wrap, that's when all my nerves are gone, and I know it's time then that there's nowhere to go. It's time to get in there and let's put on a show. But even building up to the fight, I don't feel nervous. I feel excited. As crazy as it sounds to some people, like I get excited. It's like a kid going into a Toy Story on Christmas. He just can't wait for that day to come.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I like to give an insight into that because there's these little things that the fans don't see. I mean, they see the fight and they see two, very tough people, going at it and all that sort of stuff, but they don't always see some of the, the behind the scenes and the build up and things. So I like to give that a little mention because it's like a sort of a mystery to some people, that we can show here, and it's cool. So, all right then, brilliant. Now, obviously, with your career, I mean, I believe that the best is yet to come. I believe, that the best is sort of on the horizon for you, and there's some massive fights out there. But in terms of the fights that you've had so far, though, I have to ask, like toughest fights, is a question that the fans always love to hear about toughest fights. I think pretty much every pit fight, every bare knuckle pit fight is pretty tough. But is there one that stands out for you so far as being like the toughest, opponent that you've faced, or the toughest guy? Maybe there's one, maybe there's more than one.
It's got to be the only one that I've lost. I can honestly say the two fights that I did even win, both of them very tough guys. Very tough guys, obviously, because they've got the balls to get in there. Tough guys, especially for when you watch this. But no, we're definitely Jimmy King, because toughness don't just go through how hard you can hit, it's also how hard you can get it, and just like Stallone says, keep moving forward. I might as well as finish it. But no, it's definitely one of them that is. I don't know what goes on up there. It's mental. Like rest of us, he's got a different mentality. But he's one tough cookie. So as soon as I get past him, that's when I know that more steps and more horizons are just going to build after this, and everyone's just going to see a better me each time I get in there.
Incredible, brilliant. All right then. So we talked about quite a good couple of things here. Now the other thing that I think what I try and do in these interviews is I try and give people a feel for people that really know Spartan and they really know pit fighting, they really know bare knuckle and all that already, and people who don't, because obviously there's probably going to be some people who watch this and they might have the experience that you or me first had when we first saw it, Spartan. We were like, what is
Yeah.
this? Like, I've got to get involved, right? So this question is one for those people, okay? When it comes to obviously bare knuckle fighting and the brutality of it, unlike the hands and bone against bone and all this sort of thing. When I've interviewed guys with different promotions, some guys say like their hands are fine and they hold up fine and all this, and other guys I spoke to say that they've broken their hands like a bunch of times, and it's when you hit the other
Yeah.
guy, you feel it as much as he feels it and all that sort of thing.
Oh, that's
So for
100 times.
somebody that
Yeah.
doesn't know, can you sort of walk us through that, like that side of it, basically like the pain aspect of like how it feels on your hands and how you prepare for it on that side of it. And this is, like I say, this is one for people that are new to it, but I'd like to just give them a
Yeah.
little feel for it. Okay.
See, it's hard to train for bare knuckle. I'd say best way to train for bare knuckle if you don't want to damage your knuckles too much before the fight is wear MMA gloves, your 4 ounces. If you want a bit more than that, obviously have your wraps on. Always wear your wraps. You've got to have your support always. But wear your 4 ounce MMA gloves or put 10 ounce, 8 ounces, 12 ounces, whichever you prefer. Me myself, I wear my 10 ounces for 6 rounds. I then do 6 rounds without. So I'll have just wraps on about say about an inch thicker wrap on my knuckles, and that's all I'll train with. And then if coming up to the last week, I might do a day where I'll have 2 rounds with clean knuckles, nothing to show, but that's only on the last week, which I don't go too intense on it. It's just a last little trim just to say, oh, time to open knuckles up, ready for the day.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's a good insight into the training aspect of it because, like, again, a lot of people don't realize there's different techniques that go into it, and it's again, it's something the fans don't see, and it's a nice little insight there. So that's pretty cool. Now, obviously, another thing I like to do is give advice to the young fighters. So I like to give a little bit of an inspirational aspect. Now, like I say, I mean, obviously, I believe that your best wins are still come. They're still like in the future. They're still
Yeah.
coming up, and everything like that. But you still have got to be British champion. You've still got to that high level and achieve some great things. So if there was like young fighters watching this, whether it be, people that are like 15, 16, 17, they're just coming into the fight game or whatever, or be it people who are maybe just about to, a bit older, but they're just about to make their debut with Spartan. What sort of advice would you give to them? I know this is a big question now, but what would be like one or two things you'd say to them if they want to do well that you'd say it's like very important?
Focus on yourself
Hmm.
as much as possible, um, because if you've got too much focus on everything else and that, you're not getting enough time for yourself. And in this game, you need it. You definitely need it because in that little square, it's a hellhole. So it's whoever gets out. But definitely focus on yourself. And second, make sure you've got a good chin, you're fast, and you've got endurance, because they're the three keys inside there.
Yeah. Good advice, good solid advice, and I know there's some great coaches and some great trainers out there, but I love to give this one a mention for people, who are just coming into the game because obviously you guys are there, you're in the trenches, you're in the wars, and you can give it, some advice back to the, the people coming up as well. Now, so the last couple of things then, because I mean, we've talked about a few good things, a few good solid things here as well. Is obviously Spartan Promotions, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, they're developing massively show to show, and the sport of bare knuckle boxing generally, even if we're looking at more the ringed side of it, is growing all over the world. So where
Yeah.
do you see, Spartan Promotions growing to over the next few years, over the next, 2 years, 5 years? Where do you think the sport of pit fighting will be, in that sort of time scale?
I can see this going moon out. I can see it going far and wide. It's one of them. Sky's the limit. Where
Yeah,
anything, all of these companies have done it. UFC did it when they started. Bare knuckle boxing in America, they did it. So all it's a case of is we just all push it. We all do as best as we can, and I can see us getting as big as them names. BKB in London did it, and they started how we are. So
yeah.
if they can get to where they are now in a couple of years, like they did, I'm sure we can, and I'm guaranteed that we're doing it.
Yeah, 100%, 110%. I believe it's going to be massive. But I'd like to give that a mention because obviously the way Spartan's grown over the past few years, the way it'll grow from here is just, yeah, as you said, there's no limit. The sky's the limit. So it's good to
Yeah,
give that a quick mention as well. Now, obviously, one of the last things to sort of give a quick mention to here is obviously the people that support you and have supported you through your journey so far in the fight game. Now, when I bring this up, I always say to people, I'm not talking about the people that sort of blow with the wind, they're with you when you win and they're not with you when you lose or whatever. Forget about those people. I talk about the people that are really, solidly support you and they're behind you and all that and they support you all the way. If any of those people are watching this now and they listen to this, what would be a few words that you'd sort of share with them, like to your loyal fans, your loyal supporters, your most, people who've been by your side through this? What would be something you'd say to them if they're watching this?
uh, thank you. Keep it going, cause when everything works out and everything becomes smooth sailing, we're all going to be smooth sailing together. At the end of the day, like I put up on every post, it's not Team Kyle, it's Team Hunter. So whoever's shouting the name, they're part of the family. Yeah, we're all Spartan, but we can all be Team Hunter.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. It's good to give them a mention because obviously, the sport is nothing without the fans. And at the end of the day, those loyal fans, they deserve, a shout out and everything like that because, like I say, the sport is nothing without them. But, champ, I mean, we've covered some good stuff. We've covered, obviously the future and the fight on the 20th. We've had a little bit look back at the past as well and a little bit into your training. I know obviously we can't give too much away about your training, but we've given it a nice little mention as well. And so,
Yeah,
we've talked through some really, really good stuff. And honestly, it's been an insight into your life and your career. And I really believe that the future is very, very bright for you, and there's more belts on the horizon and there's
yeah,
more good things
oh,
coming up. So,
definitely.
so the last thing for me to say is just, it's just a big thank you for your time. Big thank you for coming on.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you for having me.
And absolute best of luck as well for the 20th. And big respect on that one, champ. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel and there'll be more videos coming soon.